accessing some of the reports within NWEA that might be helpful to guide your instruction. So once you're on the login page, you're going to want to log in. From there, we're going to go into view reports and map reports. And the report that I'm going to show you first today is called the class report. And Mr. Haddad was kind enough to allow me to use his class as an example. So you're going to pick whatever period it is you want to take a look at. And then you can choose to look at all the different subject areas or just the one. Right now I'm going to show you it with all subject areas. You can also see that you can do different report options. You can sort by gender, etc. And then once we decide, we're going to create a PDF. It's going to generate our report. And it does take a little while for them to upload. You can see once you've accessed reports, a lot of times they'll be in your report queue, so you can go back and look at them within 14 days. After 14 days, though, they're deleted. And it says to refresh every 30 seconds. And it does help because it kind of speeds it up a little bit. A little bit, not a lot. My goodness, I'm sorry it's taking so long. There we go. All right, so here's your report, and I'm going to explain a little bit of what it means to you. This might be interesting just because it lets you know how many weeks of instruction we've been in based on how long the school year's been. So far we've had 20 weeks of instruction. Small group is only if you have a class that is less than 10 students. And this would be when we tested. Now, students with a valid growth test score. So how many students were tested? 31. Our mean is the average. The median is what the instructor told us is probably the more accurate picture of what most of your students are at. Because of outliers, it'll throw your mean off. Now, the standard deviation is a really important number because the standard deviation shows you what your academic spread is. So the higher your standard deviation is, the bigger gap you're going to have in your learners. We were also presented with, if you have a standard deviation of 10 or above, and you're doing the majority of your instruction in whole group, you are leaving a whole bunch of your students out. So you really need to do some differentiation. We don't have a grade level mean yet, and in this particular class there wasn't anyone above. Now the norm grade level mean at this point in time in the school year should be a 229, and this class is a little bit below that. But there are 13 students that are above. So in mathematics, see how we did in math. And I should have said this was the mathematics report first. Now, the reports will show you the different sub areas or goal areas. So, for example, in math, you've got operations and algebraic thinking, real and complex numbers, geometry, and statistics. I'm going to scroll past it so I can get down here to the reading. So, you can see that the RIT score is different for reading than it is for math. For math, we want it to be, for reading, we want it to be a 219. And this class is at about 215. The standard deviation is still pretty big for these students in reading. So he's got a large variety of different learners. And again, it shows you the different sub areas. You can take a look at how many students specifically are there or the percentile. Now, if you continue on, you get an exact report on each student. This is this RIT range. If the students were to take the test again within 10 days, they would probably score within this range. Now, the number that is in bold is their actual RIT score. The other area that's kind of important is their Lexile range, and the Lexile range, as you know, can be tied to reading levels, and sometimes you can find texts that meet their reading levels more appropriately. The test duration is also, for those of you that don't give the test, is probably important to look at as well. There's about 40 some questions, and you would expect or hope that the students would take a little more than a minute a question. So when you have someone that is taking the test in 31 minutes, you know that they probably did not necessarily use their best effort. And then it also shows you their basic performance within each of those goal areas. So you can see where they are at through there. And that is the class report. And this one, because I had it do everyone, it still has science. But the information is the same on each of them. So that's the class report.